Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a tour of medieval Japan using Google Earth. So here we have the Earth. The United States is in the center of it. Over here on the left, obviously, is where California is, and let's zoom in and take a look at our school. So now, here we are at KAO, and we're going to fly west over the Pacific Ocean to take a look at Japan. So here's the Japanese archipelago. As you can see, it's a series of underwater mountains where the land is just the tops of it. So you can see how it falls off very quickly once you get out into the ocean. This is what the physical geography looks like. As you can see down here, there's a bunch of people living, or this is where the population lives. And then as you get up into the hills, there's not very many houses. It's very hard to live on this side of a cliff. You can actually see the snow-peaked mountains over here. There's some more mountains in the middle, and it kind of slopes off where you see little villages of people. This is Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji is the largest mountain in Japan. It's an active volcano, and it last erupted in 1017. Here's another photo of it. In Google Earth you can use photos, so this is what it actually looks like. Here's Seaside Village. Japan has a diverse set of wildlife. So they have bears, wild boars, antelope, deer, foxes, and it kind of talks about, the reason is because they have so much forest and green, dense land. So here you can see some of the farmland. Here you can see some of the farming. And even though Japan is green and has access to rain, only about 15% of the land is actually suitable for farming. Almost half of all the agriculture in Japan was dedicated to growing rice. In fact, they spent so much time growing rice that the government actually had to tell people and ask people not to grow rice so much because they had a surplus of it, meaning they had too much. Okay, so here's an example of a farm. You can see the mountains up in the background. All right, now we're looking at Tokyo. Tokyo is Japan's largest city. It's actually considered one of the 3 financial centers of the world, along with London and New York City. In Tokyo, there's actually still a bunch of old temples. Here's some Shinto temples in the heart of Japan. Let's actually look at a photo of it. As you can see, the temple here in the center with the Tower of Tokyo, or the Tokyo Tower in the background. This right here is actually what they call the Philosopher's Path. And they call it that is because it's where some famous philosophers used to go to walk and just kind of think amongst the cherry blossom trees, or amongst the cherry trees. So you can still go there today and walk the path. It's got a nice creek here in the middle where it's just really relaxing and you can think about the issues of the world. Now we're looking at a Japanese temple. This is actually the one of the ancient capital temples, and here are the 3 sacred streams or something. Not something. So there's the stream of water comes down, and it divides up into 3 separate streams, and each of the separate streams means something sacred. So there's one meaning, the first one meaning that you would have a long life, so if you drink from that, you'll have a long life. The second stream means that you'll be successful at school, so if you drink from that, you'll be successful at school. And the third stream means you'll have luck finding a husband or wife, but it's actually considered unlucky if you drink from all 3. It means you're being greedy. Here is a medieval Japanese village. Each daimyo, as you know, ruling clan, had their own village where they had farming and castles, and the villagers and peasants would be there growing. And as also you know, that the Japanese considered the farmers and peasants very important because they provided food. So here's a village house. This is a thatch roof. Here's another example. As you can see, the roof is made out of different plant products. All it is different plants and bamboo. And you have a rice paddy down here next to the hut. You can see the hills and the mountains in the background. Now let's take a look at some of the Japanese castles that might be near one of these villages. Here is the ancient capital. So this is where maybe the shogun would live. And in fact, here they had the greatest or largest bronze Buddha in the world. So here it is. People come and visit the Buddha, and here's a carving or the statue in the background. Here's a picture of the welcoming gate, and then the large temples in the background. Let's see if we have a picture of that. Yep, here it is. So this is the main palace. Alright, here's an example of a castle that would be held by a daimyo. He would have his samurais there to protect him, and then the farmers would live in the surrounding village. Here's some images or another angle of the castle. As you can see, it's built up on this hill where it's easy to defend, and he'd have his villagers and different people living up here on the castle with him. Here's an actual picture of that same castle. So that was just a basic overview of medieval Japan. I hope you take the time and research all of these different parts and try to gain a deeper understanding. Thank you for joining me.